Hey, Sassy Stuff. I'm Emma here with Molly, and we are on our final preview for 2025. And today we're talking about the Mississippi State Bulldogs. We are entering Jeff Lebby's second year. He needs to climb his way out of rock bottom because they were 2-10 overall last year, 0-8 in the SEC. They had the worst defense in the SEC, no pass rush, no identity. But in 2025, there is more talent, more transfers in a full offseason under Levy's system. However, they have one of the toughest schedules in college football. Four opponents from last year's college football playoff, a brutal SEC road games, and of course the Egg Bowl finale. So this season is about finding their foothold, not flipping the SEC overnight. How do you feel about the Mississippi State Bulldogs?
Um, they already don't have like a crazy powerful roster. And so that's concerning because then on top of that, they're like, let's just give you back to back to back to back, just terrible, terrible games. So yeah, I think Godspeed and best of luck. It's gonna be tough, but mindset is everything.
I mean, the biggest thing is they just need to improve across the board. That's all they're looking for their goals this season. And one of the biggest questions is whether or not QB Blake Shapen can stay healthy. He missed the final 8 games in 2024 with a shoulder injury, but before that, he was absolutely lights out. He ranked top 5 nationally by PFF in passing grade and third in the SEC overall in offensive grade. He has experience, he has poise, he has the mechanics to be one of the better QBs in the conference, but none of that matters if he can't stay on the field. And the offensive line was very, very shaky last year. It remains to be the team's biggest unknown. So if Shapen goes down again, the Bulldogs turn to the sophomore Florida State transfer. He's still raw. He is Florida State, but he's still raw. But if he plays all 12 games, I think they could sneak to 4, 5 wins. But if he misses time, it's going to be maybe 2, 3 wins again. So that's a big question for them if that offensive line can keep him safe, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, especially looking at the strength of schedule too. They're going up against some really, really scary defensively led teams. And so if this is such a question of the O line, it's like, how much do you love your quarterback? Like, are you putting everything on the line for him? Because once again, your competition is just like scary men, as Taylor Swift says, but they're just not in heels.
One other question is, can Mississippi State generate the pass rush? I mean, Mississippi State only had 10 sacks all season, which was second worst in FBS, and that number has to improve if this team wants to be competitive in the SEC. To fix it, the Bulldogs hit the portal hard. They brought in an edge from NC State, a linebacker formerly from Tennessee, and Jalen Smith, who was named to the SEC All Freshman team in 2023. And he is very speedy, super versatile. So he is a great pickup. But it's still a huge ask to turn one of the worst defensive fronts into college football's SEC caliber unit in one off season. So if they can, again, we're looking at improvements, even get to 25 sacks this year, it would be a major, major improvement for this team. But it is going to be interesting when Jalen Smith plays against Tennessee later in the year. So that will be a nice matchup for him.
And I think with this, coaching is absolutely everything. And I think mindset is everything. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, it wasn't really a joke. The coaching staff on Mississippi State has to step up to the plate. They have to look at this schedule as if not a big deal. We have really hard back-to-back games. Our men are strong enough. We can do this. Like they have to be so on top of it. They have to make sure that the boys are getting along, that they are bonding well. Because once again, that O line, the strength of the O line is so important. And if they're not getting along, and if they're not meshing well, and there's no chemistry on the field, they're not going to have a good year. And so, I would expect the coaches to really step up this year for these boys.
Oh yeah, and I watched the SEC Netflix show, and in the episode featuring Vanderbilt beating Bama, Clark Lee, the coach, was all about mentality on this team. He's like, you cannot think that, oh, I'm Vanderbilt, I cannot beat Alabama, or I'm Vanderbilt, I can't beat Texas, I can't beat Tennessee. No, you go in there every single game and you say, I can win this game. You can't look at the logos here. And if Levy is able to do that with this team, then I think they can get exponentially better, maybe 5 wins this season, which I think is with this schedule is would be so incredible. But it is hard to say if he is the right man for the job to get a team like this in the correct mindset to go
Yeah.
out there and perform week in and week out because it is not easy. So he inherited a tough situation. They had no SEC wins, they had no direction, they had that really leaky defense. But year two already shows better roster construction, more offensive identity, better energy all around the program. And energy is such a huge thing. So if he can motivate these boys to give it their all each and every week, doesn't matter who you're playing, then this team could really surprise some people. But let's go through the schedule. They obviously start out against Southern Mississippi. I mean, this is a winnable opener. They will showcase their talent, speed, and depth should prevail here. What do you think about this game?
I think this is a great opener for Mississippi State. I think this is kind of a cupcake cushion game for them. I think getting them into the season, I think it's going to be great for them. And it's this is going to be such a teller for us as an audience of how this season is going to go for them. Taking this in stride. But I think it's going to be good for them, and especially mentally, starting the season off with a win like this.
Absolutely, because the next week they are playing Arizona State. This was a playoff team last year. This was one of the 4 they will be playing, and this is, I think, going to be a loss for them. I think they're gonna fight hard.
Yeah, agreed. It's Arizona State is such a hit or miss team, but I don't see Mississippi State being able to be on the same level.
Next, we move to Alcorn State. I do think this is gonna be a win. It should be a comfortable tune-up game, a good momentum builder for them because they really do have a tough stretch coming up soon. And then we go to Northern Illinois. Again, I think this is going to be a win. However, NIU did beat Notre Dame last year, so anything can happen. But this is when it starts getting hard. The fifth game of the year for them is going to be against Tennessee. I could see this game being closer than expected because of the loss of Nico. But Tennessee at this point in the season probably already lost to Georgia. So I just don't think they're gonna drop to Mississippi State.
But Tennessee overall is one of those teams that like it really could go either way. We could see a potential upset. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Um, could happen. I don't know.
That would be amazing because then you go down this really, really tough stretch because you go to Texas A&M, and I think we both agree that this is a loss here. But good on you. You get a bye week next, and then you go to Florida. DJ Lagway, Georgia, our host here, thinks he's going to be the Heisman winner. I think he could definitely be up for it, and I think Florida's going to be a very dynamic team. So I think we both think this one is a loss for Mississippi State. And then Texas comes to them, and they just have way too much firepower. So,
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of this episode, Godspeed, man. Godspeed to this team because my lordy, it was this 6 weeks is like a 6 weeks of hell. And it's like, oh, well, thank goodness they have a bye week. And it's like to rest up to go lose again. Like that, it just sucks. I really hope that maybe you look at some of these more competitive teams and they truly have cupcake schedules. And so I just look at this, I'm like, it's so unfair and biased on so many levels. So I'm hoping that maybe, in the next few seasons, there's going to be some changes to the schedule for them.
oh yeah, I hope they get better schedules. It does always suck when somebody has an exponentially harder schedule than you, and it's like, well, we need to weight these a little bit more fair. But this next game at Arkansas, I'm actually picking this to be an upset. I'm picking Mississippi State to win this game, putting them at 4 wins now. What do you think about this matchup?
I'm a closeted Arkansas fan, so I just have to disagree on this. I I have a lot of hope for Arkansas. I made a really bold statement that I think that they'll possibly be in the playoffs, and I actually Arkansas is just a weird team, and I don't feel that way about Mississippi State. Like
Yeah.
I don't get that same feeling from them. So I'm gonna go with another loss for Mississippi State.
All right. And then we have versus Georgia. This is Gonna be a loss at Missouri, most likely a loss, and then, of course, versus Ole Miss Egg Bowl finale, and we're gonna call that one a loss. So my final prediction is 4-8, which is way better than last year, and I gave an SEC win in there as well. The records improve in both scenarios, so that is good. The development from there will only continue to grow. I have faith in Lebby. I think he could do great things at this program, pull them out of the bottom of the SEC, really put a new stamp on this program. But we'll see.
We'll see. I think, it's going to be an interesting year. We got to make sure our quarterback, Blake Shapen, is nice and healthy. Our O line is being treated well, taken care of. And just that mindset is everything, guys. Mindset is everything. So, you guys let us know in the comments what you guys think about Mississippi State, how their year is going to be. Maybe we're being completely biased on other teams. I'm not sure. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys next week. See you later.